You're enjoying Racing World. It's brought to you by Perspective Group. It's your global motorsport podcast show brought to you in conjunction with Race Control Magazine.
Well, welcome to a rapid-fire edition of Racing World. As promised, we're really kicking it off on the month of May, and it all started today with qualifying for the GMR IndyCar Grand Prix on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. More on that in just a minute. As we said last week, we were going to do something after the Miami Grand Prix, and time just kind of got away with us with trying to get ready for this travel that we've got coming up to get back to Indy. But the thoughts on Miami, well, the race itself, it was actually pretty boring, really. It was a pretty processional race. We've seen that a couple of times in Formula One this year. That does happen. That's just the nature of the game. The track, I actually thought was pretty average, and there's been a lot of comments about it. And of course, the chicane area where the cars went under the freeway was one of those areas that just kind of really ruined the flow of the track and made it a little bit hard to watch on television as well. As an event, well, Formula One nailed that, didn't they? And they've always said that they're going to, so one can only imagine what Vegas is going to be like next year when they finally hit there. But yeah, as for the event itself, yeah, great event. I think if you'd been there, as a television event, average. As a race, average as well. But anyway, enough of that. What we saw was Max Verstappen taking another win, closing the gap on Charles Leclerc for first place in the championship. Ferrari back on form with two cars finishing in the top three, so that was great to see from them. Other notables, Alex Albon scoring a position yet again. It's amazing what happens when he dyes his hair red. And then there was a few disappointments in there as well. Great performance from Bottas in the Alpha, even though he had a few issues near the closing stages of the race. That was a great and strong performance from him, and it must have given him a lot of satisfaction holding out those Mercedes for as long as he did. Anyway, on to IndyCar. So GMR Grand Prix, qualifying was held this morning, and it was Will Power that took out pole position. Now Will is now third in the all-time standings of pole winners, only behind AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti. And it was a very, very humble Will Power that was at the post-qualifying press conference, and a very subdued and non-sarcastic Will Power, which is something that we don't often see that often. And I think that he probably was taking all of this in stride. He's won 5 of these GMR Grand Prix, or the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, around this course, and he's now taken out 6 pole positions as well. He's also led 37% of all laps in the history of the Grand Prix on the road course. And that's a pretty amazing stat. Anyway, we had the chance to catch up with Will Power at the post-qualifying press conference.
Let's go to David Turner from Racing World. David, hello.
Hi, Dave. Thanks very much. Well, just a question, really. As you continue to rewrite the record books, I just wonder what it means inside a team such as Team Penske, and what it means to Roger and Tim to have a driver of your caliber helping contribute to the history of Team Penske.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel so lucky to have had a career in a team like that. I mean, you're given a car week in, week out that's capable of pole positions and race wins. So you can't, man, you know, I have so much appreciation for that at this late stage in my career, having been in the series for so long. It's just, you know, I think struggling at Indy last year gives you an understanding of what some people go through all the time, and just fortunate to have a team that can have a struggle like that, then go away and come back, and I feel like, you know, rectified immediately, just because they're so resourceful, and you know, it's got quality people. So yep, very fortunate.
Well, congratulations on that. We look forward to seeing the race tomorrow and catching up with you next week when we return to Indy.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, as I said, a very subdued Will Power, but one that I think was just taking it all in a stride. Different mentality at the moment. This is about finishing races, scoring points, and playing the consistency game in the championship. And he's very, very smart when it comes to that. If weather comes into play, and it has done it in the past, and it's very possible that it will, then that could be another factor. But starting up front is certainly a great place to be. Now, moving on, and what is a very Kiwi biased wrap-up of what happened today. Next up, Scott McLaughlin. Probably the worst of the Penske cars, but still very strong. It just didn't quite click for McLaughlin, but he's a guy that's capable of doing it. He's going to be in amongst it, missed out on the fast 6, But again, you've got to play the championship equation, and he's no stranger to that either.
Pretty bummed for everyone to snap on Chevy. We had a really fast car today, and probably should have deserved to be in that fast 6 or at least the top 10, but just missed out in 11th. Made a mistake on my first lap on red tyres, and that's when you've got to be right on it. So we know we got a fast snap on Chevy. We'll work hard tomorrow, and there might be a bit of weather on the way anyway, so it might be an interesting race. So we'll see how we go, but heads up.
One that did surprise was Kiwi Scott Dixon, way down in 21st position. In practice 2, he was 20th. They never really got on top of what they were up to on the road course, and we expected better things from Dixon. It's not always been a happy hunting ground for him, but he has had success there. Again, don't read any form guide into the Indy 500. Totally different beast from Tuesday onwards when we start practice on the oval. But for Dixon, 20th or 21st is not a great place to be. In many ways, however, it's quite a good place to be, because if there's going to be an incident, it's going to happen midfield, and you've got the chance to drive around it from where he is.
Definitely a rough day. Embarrassed, to be honest. It's been a struggle. Lots of setup changes and probably too much. It's been really hard to kind of keep up with all the things that we have changed. The car's been drastically different each time. So hopefully we find a bit of rhythm here shortly. Hopefully tomorrow we'll see what the weather brings. But as always, we'll be trying our best.
Very quickly then on to the other categories, and in IndyLights, great performance from Hunter McElrea. We've always said we value what Hunter's up to, we believe in Hunter. Qualified for 2 races that are going to be held at the Grand Prix meeting. One was today and the other one is tomorrow on race day for the IndyCar. Qualified second in both of those qualifying sessions, so that's a great performance from Hunter. Backs up what he did in Florida earlier in the year, and again his one-lap pace has always been very, very good, and it was great to see a great performance from him today in the race as well. 35 laps over the road course, so it's a reasonable haul. And he drove very well, very mature drive from Hunter to take away a second place. And I think that that's something that can resurrect a championship. When there's 14 cars in a championship, you can kind of drop as low as what he has and still fight back. We've got double headers and triple headers at Detroit and other events later on in the year. So this is a chance to just gain points, and he needs another strong race finish tomorrow, that's for sure.
I finally finished a race, so that's nice. Crazy race there. Turn 1 was messy. I actually had contact with my teammate again, this time not that bad, luckily. Just kind of really checked up at the apex, and luckily it just kind of nudged him a bit and didn't cost any positions. Got past from 2nd to 4th, which wasn't great, and then ended up getting past the outside of Frost. So settled to 3rd, and then it was a crazy battle for the top 3. I mean, I was sitting there watching Linus and Christian battle a lot, and it was pretty intense. Like I kind of could I wasn't really prepared to get involved in that early. I kind of could see it coming, and I'm not sure what happened there, but hate to see that happen for my teammate, Christian. But looks like he had a good coverage at 4th, so happy for him that he got back up to 4th. For me, yeah, a little disappointed that the safety car came out. Obviously, it's inevitable, and I understand why. But I had a really nice gap in the lead there, so obviously led for a bit, but ended up 2nd. So I think we need to be a little better for tomorrow. A few things from my end. There was a lot of stuff going on for me. My radio wasn't working, my shift lights weren't working, so I kind of wanted to see the end of that one, honestly. A part of me did. So, but happy to get the points. I went from last in the championship to 6th in one race, so that's good. See what tomorrow brings. I think on the front row, anything can happen. I think as it to the show today, the racing's going to be intense, so I think just putting my best foot forward. Don't see why I can't go get a win. So I'll do my best and see what it brings.
Onwards then to other Kiwis that were out there today in action, and that was the 2 drivers in the USF 2000 event, Billy Fraser and Jacob Douglas. Douglas coming away with a 15th place position. It's okay, this is about learning, and that's what USF 2000 is all about. And Billy Fraser, another podium position for him, 3rd on the podium. He's now 2nd in the points chase as well. So great performance from Billy, and this is what you see in a second-year driver in USF 2000. So congratulations to Billy. They've got a long weekend ahead of them. They've still got more races to come, but this is a great way to kickstart your weekend, and I'm sure that there's plenty more left in the tank for Billy. So USF 2000, 2 more races for them tomorrow, race 2 and race 3 for the weekend, before they hit the small oval at Indianapolis Raceway Park, also known as Lucas Raceway Park. Call it whatever you like, but it's a small oval just on the outskirts of Indianapolis. They hit IRP the week that the race happens on Carb Day Friday for the Indy 500. That is when the road to Indy, both Indy Pro and USF 2000 are on the small oval. And we'll be catching up with Billy and Jacob when we're there, so it'll be really great to see them on that little oval. It's certainly part of the learning curve of what is road to Indy. So there you have it. That's a roundup of qualifying day and race day for some categories at the IndyCar Grand Prix. This is part of the month of May. She's really kicked off now. Race tomorrow, 1 race for IndyLights, 2 for USF 2000. Then there's a day off at the track. The track is reconfigured into the oval specification. And then come Tuesday, it's the first practice for the 106th running of the Indy 500 presented by Gamebridge. And who will take out that? Will Elio make it 5? Only time will tell. But we'll have more from the Indy Grand Prix tomorrow here on Racing World.